Hey guys, it's Taylor again. You can see I'm wearing an Angry Birds hat. Mostly because today is secret / kind of weird obsession week with me, Alex, and Austin. I don't know what those guys have in store for you. Mine's gonna be kind of quick and to the point. My biggest one, I'm very interested and fascinated and intrigued by the Kennedy assassination, kind of his whole administration really, which is where the assassination comes into play. November 22nd, 1963 at exactly 12:31 p.m. Kennedy turns off of Elm Street, onto Elm Street, and begins to make his way towards the Stemmons Freeway, going to a luncheon in Texas to help him win the presidential campaign there. He was shot from locations unknown. Definitely know that one location was the book depository, 4 stories above the limo. Another very famous location is the grassy knoll, which was to the right and kind of ahead of Kennedy in the motorcade, which is talked a lot about in this book, which is called the Triangle of Death. The Triangle of Death, in his eyes, was there's a shooter on the grassy knoll, shooter in the book depository, and a shooter in the Dow Tex building, which was kind of behind Kennedy more than the book depository. Pretty much, it's a conspiracy that there was more than one shooter, obviously, if there were 3 spots. What's cool about the grassy knoll is there are so many witnesses that say that they felt shots were coming from behind them, or that they heard shots coming from behind them, or if they were across the street, they saw shots coming from in front of them towards the motorcade. There was one guy who felt like shots were coming from behind him, so he had his whole family get down on the ground just in case. There was an old, I believe he was a Marine lieutenant, or however the rankings go for that. He was in the military, ex-military, and he had been asked to move from behind the fence by a police officer who would later come up, an unknown officer. No Secret Service had guys up there, so that's kind of weird, right? Anyways, I don't want to divulge too much into that. This book is pretty cool. The Search for Lee Harvey Oswald. It's got a bunch of pictures of evidence and little details that maybe you didn't know about. Definitely something to take a look at if you have any interest whatsoever in this. When Oswald was being transported and was shot in jail by Jack Ruby, which is one reason why I think that this was a conspiracy, because why would they kill the lone assassin? He was not necessarily, Jack Ruby, was not necessarily being a hero by killing the assassin, because we should find out who it was first. Just doesn't make sense, right? This is quite the subject to talk about. It's very controversial. You bring it up with somebody, they're going to have different opinions from you, probably. It may be similar in some ways, but for the most part, they might think that it was somebody else that did it. Now, here's the kicker. I believe, and I will hold true to this, I believe Lyndon Johnson was behind it. Maybe not planning it, but I believe he knew who did it and covered it up. I think his name could pop up at some point in those papers, and that would not surprise me at all if it did. I do believe that in some way Oswald was involved. When you take all that in, yeah, it's a lot. I know, but that's kind of my obsession. Hope you guys like what the boys have in store for you. I can't begin to imagine what Alex and Austin might even be thinking could be an obsession. So we hope you guys stay tuned for that. And tune in next week. We'll maybe get more of a topic that the 3 of us can even talk about, as opposed to being a little more personal. We'll find a current event or something like that. If you have any suggestions, please comment below, and that'll help us out some.